Joining us now is Annie Anieze Osakwe, with stories trending around the world. Hello, Annie.
Hello. Still getting used to Anieze, but I like it. I'm doing well. How are you, Dr. Abati?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Vimbai, how are you?
The one and only Annie. I'm great, and yourself?
Good. Glad to be back. Vimbai, how's it going?
Good.
Good. Awesome.
Pride.
Pride.
Thank you.
Thank you. We were waiting. Thank you, sir. So, good morning to everyone watching right now. Thank you for starting your day with us. We start with trending today with what feels like reactions from the entire country to comfort Emmanson, the female passenger who, according to Ibom Air, was removed from the airline after she refused to switch off her phone. And in a post on X late last night, Minister of Aviation Festus Keyamo made some key points related to her case. 1, she's now subject to an indefinite ban from airline operators of Nigeria, meaning she can no longer travel locally or internationally with any of the major Nigerian airlines. Number 2, she was charged to court, but is now in Kirikiri Correctional Centre. For context, that's a jail in Lagos that's been known for some overcrowding. And 3, he has directed airlines to, quote, train and retrain their staff in public relations and how to deal with potentially explosive situations in order to defuse them or promptly nip them in the bud. But as that statement was released last night, Peter Obi released his own statement, calling out what he says are double standards with regards to K1 incident, the musician who recently had his own altercation with a value jet airline. And in a new message out just this morning, Obi says it's a tragic irony that a young lady in her 20s can be banned for life while we, her parents, commit worse crimes against humanity and are celebrated. Those in positions of authority perpetrate greater offenses that harm the nation deeply, yet move freely in comfort, shielded from consequences. So both Obi and the Minister of Aviation also talked about how unacceptable it was to film the indecent exposure of the woman in the video. So taking all of these elements together, I'll start with you, Vimbai. How are you seeing the story today? Because a lot has changed in the 24 hours where we first talked about it just yesterday.
Absolutely. Let me start with the indecent exposure, which, so you know, when we took the story yesterday, I'd watched the video very quickly because I think the video started circulating while we were on air. So I kind of just browsed through it, hadn't sat down to watch it in detail. Once I got home, I sat down and I watched it in detail. And I was just concerned at the fact that it seemed intentional. When her T-shirt was pulled back like that. But beyond that, just the manhandling around it. And I intentionally use the term manhandling, not to say that even a man deserves to be handled in that way. But it almost felt like we're not prepared for these types of crisis situations in the aviation industry. If you compare what happened with Kwam1 and you compare with this, they're total polar opposites. But it shows you that there isn't these incidents show that there isn't a real capacity to handle these situations with the right level of discipline. Whether it be the discipline to ensure that a high-profile passenger is diligently and expeditiously escorted away from a situation, or whether just an ordinary passenger is also carried out with her dignity intact. Because yes, she was wrong. Yes, she is guilty. However, that doesn't mean that her human rights should be stripped away from her. So I know they've said that the person who took the video and posted it should be sanctioned and so forth, but that's really a slap on the wrist because she has been exposed and nothing can compensate for how her whole body has been exposed to the world without her consent. So that in itself is very unfortunate. Now to the issues around the differences in treatment. I'm sure Kwam1, when he saw this and when he saw blow up, he just thought, oh my goodness, I was a really lucky man and then this had to happen because he'd almost gotten away with it. The conversation was going to die down. We were going to forget about it and I'm sure we were going to bump into him on an aircraft sometime very soon. But now this has highlighted the fact that these are security situations. What I was saying earlier is, what happens when you are confronted with a passenger who is not in their right state of mind, who has bad intentions, who has intentions to harm people? it shows that we're not ready for these situations. And we also have to be careful in how we follow up this situation, because all of those people who plan terrible atrocities, they are watching. And unfortunately, they're attracted to these kinds of things. So this is a call for FAN, for NCAA, for the airlines, for passengers as well, to just respect the rule of law where air travel is concerned. I say the airlines because sometimes the airlines can also provoke you. So all in all, everybody just needs to be called to order. We need a system reset, and I hope these incidents can be what catalyzes us to do so.
Dr. Abati.
Okay, can I deal with the what I consider the substance of the matter that many commentators have expressed concern about, which is the lack of proportionality in the treatment of the two personalities that have been involved in this matter within the space of 1 week. One, August 5, the other one, August 10, 5 days later. Now, you had Kwam. In the case of Kwam, he was given a 6-month suspension, no-fly ban for 6 months, with the allegation that, okay, investigations are still going. The pilot was given a suspension of a license for 6 months. In fact, Kwam will have escaped totally if Festus Keyamo, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, did not step in to say, no, what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. And if you are going to sanction the captain of the aircraft, you will also sanction the affected personality who disrupted operations. But 5 days later, before then, Kwam had apologized. And some people, his fans, were saying, to err is human, to forgive is divine, he should be forgiven. He himself was a record. Everybody turned the thing into an opportunity for amusement, with memes, with all kinds of things. But then, the implication occurred on August 10, with regard to Miss Comfort Emmanson. That's her name, of the lady involved in the matter in the Ibom, or the Ibom flight from Uyo to Lagos. The story is that she was asked to switch off her phone, and she refused until an announcement was made by the pilot, and then another passenger snatched the phone from her and switched it off. They landed in Lagos. In Lagos, there had been conflicts during the flight between her and the cabin crew, particularly the purser. And then the crew said she will not go down from the plane. They called security, to arrest her or whatever. In the process, she was treated in a way that looked like they were dragging her, they were dehumanizing her, and that is what is being shown on the screen. Eventually, she was taken to Kirikiri Hotel. This is the point about the proportionality. Kwam, who is a big man, got away lightly.
Kirikiri Hotel.
Is it Kirikiri Hotel? Kirikiri prison. Yeah, well, it became a hotel for somebody.
Oh.
That's the source of the confusion. When Portable was taken here, we thought he was in a hotel. But in any case, she was taken to Kirikiri to be arraigned subsequently. The Airlines Operation Organization of Nigeria, AON, they slammed a lifetime ban on her for life. Complete ban. And then, of course, in all of this, the first matter is to look at the proportionality of the matter. The big man syndrome. The big man gets away with murder. The small person gets away with punishment. This does not justify the behavior of either Kwam 1 or Kwam 2, as Miss Comfort Emmanson is now known. Now, I want to say that Miss Comfort Emmanson has been unfairly treated. She has not been given the right to fair hearing because we have not heard from her. So, what is her side of the story? And then she's been given a lifetime ban by Airlines Operators Organization of Nigeria. Okay, did they listen to our own side of the story? and it's a total ban, where is the opportunity for redress or for revision? So there is also a problem there. And I think Ms. Emmanson and our supporters, they should proceed post-haste to a federal high court to say that our rights have been violated under sections 35, 36, and 41 of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria. Section 41 guarantees freedom of movement. Yeah. And then exposing her and treating her in that manner amounts to dehumanization and torture, and exposing a vital assets, that amounts to, dehumanization. And that's why I take the point about how these airlines, their staff, require training in terms of how to relate to passengers. There will always be mad, misbehaving passengers, but they still have to be respected. They still have to be treated with dignity. Yeah. There are better ways in which Ms. Comfort Emmanson's matter could have been handled. And I hope that this explanation will give comfort, not just to comfort ourselves, but to all the persons who have been arguing that we live in a country where what is good for the goose is not good for the gander. And Festus Keyamo, the minister, who brought up this issue in handling the case involving Kwam 1, should be reminded that in this case too, the principles that he defined also applies in this case.
Yeah, I think Rufai, very quickly.
In all we do in this country, I remember your app this morning, we try to treat the symptoms, not the root cause of the problem. Are you surprised that an airline will not manage the issue properly? Are you surprised that there's a repeated action, that 2 airlines, 2 incidents have happened and they've mismanaged it? So it's a pattern in Nigeria. And are you surprised at the level of high-handedness by people that are said to be bigger people in society? It's also a pattern. And that's why I keep going back to the point that culture will eat strategy for breakfast. And there's a culture where some people get away with things and proportionality is not meted out. Are you surprised that the Commissioner of Police was quick to charge her to court in the first place? And in the same breath, the Commissioner of Police in the FCT was not quick to charge K1 to court. So it's a reflection of the systems we have been able to build. And the problem is when you build systems like this, it's just a matter of time. It comes crashing down like a chair. And the problem is when it crashes, we start to now analyze the symptoms. When the chair falls down, we start to analyze the symptoms without looking deeply into what caused it in the first place. So it's easier for the Aviation Minister to say train and retrain. The question is, where is the manual at which you handle a situation like this now? As we speak, there's a training manual. Where is the manual? In a crisis like this, what are the 2-3 things you'll do? Can this airline show me that manual? When you, even in a situation where you have a plane jacking, where is the manual of how they can suppress? Where is the manual of a quick call of a security personnel? What's even the training of the security personnel on ground? Because in all of this, I only saw 1 policeman on ground though. Correct me if I'm wrong. Were there more than 2? In the end, it was still the airline's members of staff that pulled her in the car. They were the ones that effected the arrest. It wasn't the policemen. Or were those men that were wearing the airline jackets, were they police officers? No.
Ground personnel.
They were ground personnel. Was there a female officer that could have done that job there? No. Secondly, and I will go back to the positions that were given. Dr. Abati, you are the one that quotes law. Legally, can these people, I'm talking about the Airline Operators Association, place a lifetime ban? Wouldn't it be challenged in court?
It can be challenged.
It can be challenged in court.
That's what I said.
So unilaterally, they've quickly placed a lifetime ban. I should think that there are lawyers amongst them. And that was the argument Obani was making this morning. I should think that there are lawyers on them. You are quick to place a lifetime ban. Where is the place of the courts? So in airing, those bodies, including up to the rank of the minister, we became judge in a country where there's a court of law. Another violation. So you see, what has happened in this today is symptomatic of the system of Nigeria. We have not heard that the court has created any ruling. And we are the ones that say you are guilty until you are charged. So until you are found guilty, the court has not made any ruling. We have quickly portrayed guilt on this woman and banned her.
No, but she can go to court.
So there are many loose
fundamental human rights.
So there are many loose ends in this, which is symptomatic of the problem of Nigeria. How do we fix it? We need a cultural reset. The cultural reset will have to annoy a lot of people.
All very
My
good
point
points.
is that the administration of justice should not be selective. One law for everybody. And the state must be seen to be fair to everybody.
Cultural problem.
All very good points for a very big story. We'll keep watching it. So now, if you have tinted windows and you don't have a tinted glass permit yet, you're in some luck because the Nigeria Police Force just moved the deadline for that permit from today to the 2nd of October. In a tweet last night, the police said they made this decision after a significant surge in applications on the official portal reflecting heightened public compliance with the directive. In light of this, the force considers it imperative to allow sufficient time for the scrutiny of applications. So according to the police, these tinted glass permits are meant to strengthen national security, especially when it comes to windows that hide the identity of the person driving. This is actually the second time the force is moving this deadline to register for this permit. There was an earlier deadline set back in May, but after a lot of public complaints regarding accessibility issues, the deadline was pushed to today. And now people have until the 2nd of October. So in some more news for all of the car owners, all of the drivers out there, a significant new development in Lagos, with the state asking all e-hailing operators, so all Ubers, Bolts, lag rides, InDrives, to make sure their drivers present their cards to determine their, quote, roadworthiness. In a post on X, the Lagos State Commissioner for Transport says the ministry has observed the, quote, deplorable conditions of some vehicles operated by drivers under e-hailing platforms, adding that any vehicle found unsuitable will not be allowed to operate on Lagos roads. And one point that, people have been making online is that, okay, you want to audit Ubers, you want to audit Bolts. Why are we not doing this with Danfo buses? Why are we not doing this with trailers?
Danfo has immunity in Nigeria. Simple.
I mean,
No, it's part of the cultural problem.
I guess
See,
get your reaction
I've always
first.
wondered why Danfo has immunity in Nigeria. I don't know, maybe because of the strength of the unions, but the kind of things Danfo gets away with, other cars on the road cannot get it. It's like, you see, we're talking about rule of law. We're talking about proportionality, Dr. Abati. It's like there's a set of road laws for Danfo. There's a set of road laws for others. Danfo got away with atrocious. Okay, take for instance, the same vehicle and roadworthiness. You see Danfo in the most shambolic condition. You know deep inside of you that there's no how this one can pass roadworthiness. But they are moving on the road like nothing happens. And that's why these Uber and boat drivers are kicking back. Secondly, for the, the permit, the problem is there are a lot of challenges with the website at which you have to register. So we need to beg them to please fix the tech so that people can be able to register and get. There's a lot of challenges with the website where people have to register. I yield the floor.
Bye. What's your reaction to this?
It's always just shocking how you travel and you order an Uber or a Bolt or whatever, and you get a car in pristine condition, smells good,
Yes.
great air conditioning.
Yes.
You even get to decide if you'd like a luxury vehicle or a regular car or a tiny car or whatever it is. And then you have what has happened. And when Uber started, in all fairness, those standards were there. There was a minimum level as to what year a vehicle was allowed to be used. And, all the various standards we see in the rest of the world. I don't know what has happened, but there's certainly a lapse when it comes to regulation for these e-hailing apps and e-hailing services, because all gloves are off. Besides the issues pertaining to roadworthiness of these vehicles, there are now safety and security issues, because some of these organizations no longer vet their drivers. There was an instance that Ikena took on, I think it was on his radio show, where there's a driver belonging to one of the platforms, let me not name the platforms, who is said to be a serial rapist, and he abuses and he assaults passengers, and he steals from them, and in some instances has raped them. These are the allegations that are being meted towards this gentleman, and there's several women who have come out to say that this man has assaulted them. So generally, the regulatory framework around the e-hailing apps has just become non-existent and has become a state of anarchy in itself. And something certainly needs to be done to look into regulating them again, because currently they operate under they're actually almost like a sister to the Danfo immunity. The Ubers and the Bolts and the so forth, they have their own level of immunity besides the deplorable conditions that they're in. Okay, let's argue that that's what's affordable with what they make and what they earn in this economy. No problem. However, there is no excuse for the lack of security around and the lack of accountability around these apps. So that's absolutely, I'm very concerned about that, because the difference in the service delivery from anywhere else in the world is shocking.
Very stark.
Okay. The Lagos State government is in order to try to regulate the e-hailing cab system that we have within the city, but their focus is on the condition of the vehicles. They say that most of the vehicles are in deplorable conditions. While that is a good idea, we would not like to have a ride in a very decent vehicle, not one where the shock absorber will be making noise. The car will be behaving as if it's falling apart. So we cannot argue against that. But is the state government also thinking about the condition of the roads on which these cabs, these vehicles operate? I think that is even much of a bigger concern for people in Lagos State who use these cabs. Potholes everywhere and all that. In fact, one cab driver was telling me that he was hoping that with President Tinubu as president of Nigeria, that the roads in Lagos, particularly the inner streets, will be in a better shape. Because it's not just for the main roads to even look okay, but the inner roads should also be better. At least he would, in his own estimation, say this is what he has gained from President Tinubu going from Lagos to Abuja to represent all of us. But he says that is not the case. The third point is about the security. The Lagos State government has already said, if you want to call a cab, make sure you do it, using the internet, the electronic system, so that there is documentation that you made a call and this is your destination, so that your movement is recorded. Because indeed, the point has been made about how there is, insecurity with some of these, cabs that people use, particularly for women. As Vimbai pointed out, that they are subjected to rape. Some of these people who also get involved in this e-hailing business can also be very rude. You get into a cab that you have called up to take you somewhere, and the man thinks it is part of his right to engage you in a conversation. So who is training them? Who is telling them about how to relate with customers? What if the customer just gets into your car? He doesn't want to have a conversation, but you insist on talking to the passenger. So these are some of the details that can be worked out in a more comprehensive and not episodic manner. Right. Because if we say, condition of the vehicles, it could become an opportunity for extortion by certain government departments. And that takes me next to this issue about tinted glasses that the Inspector General of Police has now extended by 52 days, I think till October 12, 2025, for people to come and get the necessary permit. Well, the point here again is about extortion. This must not become another opportunity for policemen to harass people on the roads or to extort them. Now, the police, they've provided a hotline to say that if anybody is harassed or extorted, there is a hotline to which you can report. But this is Nigeria. This is not the first time that the Nigerian police force will say, oh, if you are using tinted glasses, you must pay, you must get a permit, but these things don't work very well. Christmas will soon come. We are very soon going to enter the Ember months. You will have all kinds of regulations coming. It should not be for the benefit of policemen who want to... school fees is even around the corner. In September, people will pay school fees. This is how you'll be hearing all kinds of things. Local councils will come with their own. Police will come with their own. Neighborhood, CDA, they will come with their own. Everybody is looking for money. No. The purpose of it, as the Inspector General of Police pointed out, is security. And that should be the purpose. Not people looking for desperate ways to raise money to do Christmas or to pay school fees in the month of September, which is a very critical moment for everyone who has a child in any school in Nigeria.
Very good point.
You know.
Yes, I know. I'm counting down. I can confirm.
So from Lagos, let's now go to Delta State, where a popular comedian known as Sir Balo is speaking directly to Governor Sheriff Oborevwori about the lack of electricity in his community and how it's been that way for over 8 years. In a new video, he says it doesn't make sense that a community that's an oil producer for Nigeria doesn't have electricity for the people in that area. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Some months ago, I cried that my community at Barauto in Delta State, there is no light for the past 7 years, and it's going to 8 years now. There's still no light. No, we cannot have this kind of community. No lights. That's my major concern. But in a community where we have this, and there's no lights in my community, that's my major concern. There's no lights. There's no lights. And then they drill oil here. Funny part is, all these people, they are using lights. How come this shell is having lights and the community is not having lights?
So, Vimbai, I'll start with you. What's your reaction to the video and this content? Because what he's saying is true. A lot of times in communities like this, around big structures like this, you'll find that the people in the area don't necessarily reap the benefits from what's being done there.
Yeah, earlier this week we had a conversation about the resumption of oil exploration in Ogoniland. And one of the issues that continues to come up is that the community feels that all these, big corporations come in, there's environmental degradation, there's so many things that happen, yet the communities have nothing to show for the fact that they have these huge investments in their backyard. And this is something that we see generally in the Niger Delta. I always say that it makes me so sad. When you go to some of the areas, oil-producing areas, and you look at just the lack of community development. Also, yes, a part of it falls on the responsibility, on the onus of the government, but a lot of it is also a corporate social responsibility that you would expect that when there's this massive investment and these massive structures exist, then also needs to be some correlating impact with the surrounding communities. So that's from a corporate social responsibility perspective. But from a leadership perspective, I don't think you will go to any oil-producing community in Saudi Arabia or even in Canada, or let's name all the big oil producers, Russia, and the adjacent communities do not feel the impact of the fact that their community produces liquid gold for the world. It's hugely unfortunate. But again, it's a reflection of the bigger scale of what's happening with oil, where many people will come out and say, are we feeling the benefits of being an oil-producing nation in our day-to-day lives as Nigerians? Yes, fine. Some people might say the argument is that oil price hasn't been stable in a long time. It's become a very volatile resource, and so it's become difficult difficult for our governments to plan on it. No problem. But even the time when things were good, if I may say, the golden era, the 70s, when we really enjoyed the great revenue from oil, what still stands from that time? How much were we able to move forward and maintain the development of that time? That's one aspect. The other aspect, the issue of power, is an issue we continue to debate and unpack and repack, and we can't find a solution to this. We thought the Electricity Act was the solution. Now at the state level, we can see that there's even confrontation happening between the states and the regulatory commissions. Some of the states are saying that they've decided to reduce the price because they feel that the price is unfair. The regulatory commissions are saying you have no right to do so. And so it's a total mess. And it's really unfair because in all of this, it's just the common man, you and I on the street, who are bearing the brunt of what it does to our quality of life, what it does to our access to education, our access to healthcare, our general well-being, because we do not have access to this resource that has been determined. Electricity is now a basic human right. So, very unfortunate.
See, it is said that if you had a certain threshold of megawatt of electricity, you can add a percentage point of GDP growth. So, like I said before, you see, all the things we come here to talk about every day, mostly they're cultural problems. I think it was Peter Drucker that talks about culture will eat strategy for breakfast. I mean, it's not today that oil-producing areas will not enjoy the benefit because we have a culture of decay. That's just it. I keep telling the story of Onwea, which I know very well. When DSC, Delta Steel, was brought to Onwea, what did Onwea enjoy? Was it as much? So I'm not surprised that an oil-producing area is not enjoying. They will not enjoy electricity because we don't have a culture that provides for our citizenry. Even look at the big cities in Nigeria that we say we have infrastructure, Lagos, Abuja. Is it not the road you are talking about that in deplorable condition, destroying people's car? So we have a culture of incompetence baked in a culture of unrealistic expectations, baked in a culture of corruption that constantly pulls the country back. So if we don't solve that, we'll keep talking about the symptoms every day. With the wealth Nigeria has, we cannot put effectively 10,000 megawatts on grid power for people in various communities. And there are many communities that have not had life for even longer years. So I'm not surprised. The question is, when we start to tackle the culture and we start to look for accountability and say the reason why this is not happening can be attributed to this, and we solve the problem, and it's a cultural thing, then the country can run effectively. If we don't do that, we'll keep talking about this. And that's why I keep saying it will happen again.
Right. Now to some good news, where over in India, a Nigerian professor, Ademola Adenle, has just made history as the first ever recipient of the Swaminathan Award for Food and Peace. The award was presented by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and it's often described as a mini Nobel Peace Prize. The award itself was created by the World Academy of Sciences, and Professor Adenle is also a senior special advisor in the Ministry of Agriculture, and he was recognized for his contributions to food security, climate justice, and more. Speaking at the ceremony in New Delhi, Professor Adenle said that getting this award was an incredible honor, and that it strengthened his resolve to use science to transform agriculture and lives. What a nice, inspiring story, you know, especially seeing Nigerian or African scientists on the global stage in this way. Dr. Abati, I'll start with you. I mean, what a great achievement.
Just to say congratulations to Professor Adenle. There are many Nigerians doing well everywhere in different fields, and they continue to excel. And it's that gives Nigerians hope that whatever the challenges in this environment may be, that there are enough human resources who will continue to excel this generation and the next one. And that's why government must continue to inspire such persons and provide an enabling environment. I hope after this award, Professor Adenle will also make the National Honors List this year to show that he's not just a prophet having honor overseas. a prophet can also be honored in his home.
Absolutely. And so finally, let's go to a milestone with Oyekunle Aremu Alex Duduyemi, the distinguished statesman, marking his 90th birthday just this last weekend. A revered elder, businessman, and political leader, Alex Duduyemi spent the greater part of his life and career dedicated to the growth and development of Nigeria at large, as well as his community. He was a prominent figure in Nigeria's Second Republic, getting elected to the Federal House of Representatives from 1964 to 1966. Alex Duduyemi was also a parliamentary secretary in Lagos from 1965 to 1966. And in addition to that, he built a career in commerce and industry through a variety of ventures in real estate, oil and gas, among others. And he also took on a key role in his community, holding one of the most prestigious chieftaincy titles in Yoruba land. So because of that, he's played a critical role in promoting Yoruba culture and tradition, balancing both ancestral heritage as well as modern governance. So from everyone at Arise News, we wish him a very happy 90th birthday.
Well, happy birthday to Chief Alex Duduyemi, the Aro and the Ashwaju of Ile-Ife.
And happy birthday too to Kola Additional of Sahara Group today. Yeah.
Okay, today is Kola's birthday.
Kola Additional 61st birthday.
Congratulations to him. Thank you very much, Annie. And that's all on today's edition of The Morning Show.